Welcome to Purpose Living Podcast, and we have our usual new episode that we have every week, and we're glad to be here. Feel free to subscribe and share, like, and do all those things so that many people can be helped through the information that we have that we're passing along to everybody to help people just live life and this journey of life that we all have to continue to be better in everything that we're doing. My name is Panji. What's your name?
Jenny.
And we're here, like I said, Purpose Living Coaching, and we're here today with a new topic. I think this is a great topic that we can all learn from and we can all get better at doing, taking action. So, knock us out.
All right. Well, we are here and we are training to do life God's way. And oftentimes, we want to be healthy and we want to be whole from the inside out. And our topic today is learning how to create our clear plan of action. So oftentimes we're like, yes, I want to be physically healthy. I want to grow in my faith. I want to have a thriving marriage. I want to, really steward my finances well. That's great. And then, in the earlier episodes, we talked about really visualizing your goals, having that clear direction of where you're going. Well, today we actually get to talk about how to create a plan of action, because without a plan, it's just a wish and it's a good idea and it's really good intentions, but there's not a lot of follow through. So have you ever set a goal and then, I'm going to do this, and then didn't have a clear plan and you give up? Have you ever done that before?
Reading books.
Yes. I feel like we all have. We maybe say we want to, do some kind of, maybe you want to run a race, or you want to, follow and lose some weight, or you want to read a Bible in a year, whatever that might be. And it's easy for us to set these lofty goals without asking ourselves, what are we willing to do to actually accomplish them? So when we are writing our clear plan of action, we're not just going to say, okay, do all of these things and it will happen. That might be true. That plan might be accurate, that if you do those things, that you will see and you will hit your goals. But what we want to do is actually take it a step back and say, in this season, where I'm at right now, what am I willing to do in order to accomplish these goals? So we are writing commitments based on the progress that it will take to help you to continue to grow and make progress towards knowing that we never actually just arrive at the destination of our goal, but that we are always in process and in training to continue to achieve that. So how do we do that? Let's just kind of break it down a little bit. We always want to start with just picking 1 to 2 focus areas where you're wanting to set a goal or plan of action to actually accomplish. So let's say your goal or your plan is going to be, you want to start eating healthier and you want to grow in your faith, okay? So those are 2 focus areas. So we're going to kind of create a plan of action within the 2. So let's start with, you want to start eating healthier. First, we need to define what that means, right?
Yep.
So what does eating healthier mean? What are you wanting to achieve with that? Are you wanting to lose weight? Are you wanting to maintain your weight? Are you wanting to add more vegetables, more fruits? What does eating healthier look like to you? So let's go deeper within that. But then let's be honest with ourselves. So this is where I think we can kind of get caught up, where we say, okay, I want to I'm going to do all of this stuff, but we're not actually willing to do it. So really leaning in and asking ourselves, on a scale from 1 to 10, where am I at my willingness to want to choose a healthier lifestyle?
Yeah. I think it comes back to also thinking and asking yourself the question of, a lot of people would have, like you said, so they want something, they want to achieve something, right? And the question I always ask my athletes, which I just did not too long ago, it's funny how this is coming full circle, is not just having a goal or an idea of what you want to do, but do you know what it takes? Mm-hmm. So asking yourself the question of, okay, do I know what this means if I decide to say, hey, this is what I want to do? Do you know what it takes in order for you to get there? And I think it goes hand in hand of, if you know what it takes, then you know your willingness to do it. it's gonna be pretty much not easy but doable.
Yep, 100%. Because if you're like, okay, I am willing, and like if you're less than a 7 on the willingness scale, that's probably not a focus area for you right now. So like just being honest, like, okay, you know what, I know that I need to work on X, but I just do not have the capacity right now. I'm not in the state where that's where I need to focus. I need to focus on Z, whatever Z might be. That's where I'm going to put my energy. So that's why we're saying like just picking 1 to 2 areas until that just becomes ingrained in a natural habit for you. Because if we like a little bit here, a little bit there, we end up not following through and staying consistent with anything. And so training to live life with purpose means that it's not for just a little bit of a time, but that we're growing and building habits to be able to sustain and keep on going. So as we kind of navigate that and we know, okay, I'm at 10, I am willing to do whatever it takes in order to be able to eat for fuel and to really energize my body. Like that's super important to me. Okay, so if that's super important to you, let's write down a couple commitments that you are willing to do. So the first one, and you have to make it where it's true for you. First one is I'm willing to drink at least half of my body weight in ounces of water each day. So I am committed to drinking half of my body weight in water in ounces each day. So you like physically write that down. This is something I'm committed to. And commitment means non-negotiable. Means it's not like, yeah, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. It sounds like a good idea. This is, I am committed to. It's a non-negotiable. You want to talk on commitments or non-negotiables for a minute before we go on?
When it comes to commitment, you're dedicating yourself into, like, there's no wiggle room when you're committed into doing something. Like, unless there's something that is, like, impacting your health, is going to cause some harm to you, it's just non-negotiable. Like, you don't have there's no wiggle room, right? If you're committed to doing something, that means you want to get it done. So when it comes to commitment, for me, it's making sure that also the same, just like you talked about, you kind of touched on it a little, but picking 1 thing or 2 things. Because if you pick 5 things and you're trying to work on it, it's harder for you to be committed to all those 5 things at once, trying to achieve those things. Compared to if I have 1 or 2 things that I know that I can work on, I could commit to those things, 2 things, to work on 2 things at once, because it's hard for us. As much as we think that multitasking, no, it's not truly a thing. Multitasking is just us trying to do too many things at once, and so a lot of us can't handle that. A lot of times when I talk to people is when I try to do multitasking of more than one or 2 things, you're always saying yes and no to something. So for you to focus on just 2 things that you can truly work on, right? What part of my life am I lacking? And what part of my life do I really, really need to work on? That would be probably the part that I focus on, right? Because the other parts that you are naturally gifted at, it's going to come natural for you to pick those things and work on those things. But on the things that you're not naturally gifted at, it's going to be something that you're going to have to commit into working on those things, right? So for me, when it comes to commitment, it's not like you don't give yourself any small opportunity to fall. Make sure that you're staying true to that, and then you just have a good way for you to do that is just having accountability partners, people that can hold you accountable in those things. And that's the part that I think a lot of us miss, is just because we say we're committed to something, we feel like we got to do it on our own, but that's not true. You got to have other people around you to help you remain committed to those things that you want to achieve in your life, right? So for me, I have a circle of friends that when I'm trying to do something that I want to achieve, she knows, and a lot of them know that, hey, you got to hold me accountable to make sure that I'm staying true to this thing, because that's what my commitment is, right? I'm trying to stay true to what I say, and I don't want to fall off of trying to achieve that thing that I want to achieve. So it's the same thing for all of us. If there's a part of our lives, whether it is finances, physical, emotional, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to achieve to get better at doing, making sure that you have other people around you and you allow other people, give other people permission to say, hey, can I hold you accountable to make sure you're staying committed to what you're trying to achieve. So
yeah, and I'll say too, like, just because you are committed to it, it's a non-negotiable. So this is something that you're committed to doing and training in. It does not mean perfection.
yeah.
Okay, so I want to give yourself grace where if you don't execute it perfectly, that we don't beat ourselves up and go into this like, oh, I'm such a failure type mode. That is not the idea here. It is, okay, I'm committed to this. I'm committed to training in it. I'm committed to the process of allowing this to become an ingrained habit. You know, so you really want to know that there's no such thing as perfection, but that you're not wavering in the fact of, am I going to make this a priority of mine? Like, you're saying that this is a priority, that you want to continue to work on it. So let's lean into that. So what are you committed to? And if you are like, you know what, I'm not sure, go back into our previous episodes where we talk about, you know, your current reality. We talk about your goals, and we kind of went through all that. So that's a great way. We also do have our membership. So if you are a person that, you know what, you need people around you that want to do life and train with you, we actually have our 7 Steps to Purpose Living course in that membership, where you are able to go through that at your own time, picking, you know, of those 5 areas what's most important to you, and then utilize the actual community to be able to grow together, to work together that way. So all of those resources are definitely there for you to utilize, and if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to ask us. But going back to what are we committed to? So we're committed to drinking half of our body weight in ounces of water each day. We are committed to eating at least 2 vegetables each day. We're committed to eating at least 1 fruit each day. You know, it can make it whatever is realistic for you. You're committed to limiting yourself to 1 sweet per week. You know, whatever that is, look at, okay, I really want to have energy. I want to be able to lose some weight. I want to be able to, you know, get quality sleep. Like, these are things that are important to me, and I know how I feel my body is going to affect it. So we know this. So what are the steps that I'm ready to make some progress to, and what are my commitments here? So really leaning in and being honest with yourself. When you're looking at commitments too, look at it not what am I going to do for short term, but what is the habit that I am forming that I'm going to do for the remainder of our life. So as we're training, we're not like, okay, I'm going to eat vegetables this week, but then I'm just going to stop eating vegetables again. We want to make it where this is just a routine, natural part of our life. Same with, you know, let's say we want to grow in our marriage. Okay, we want to be able to, you know, set that time aside where we're strongly communicating. Okay, so we can do that for a season, but if we stop doing that, what will happen? We're going to go backwards. So we're either moving forward or we're going backwards. Very, very rarely in any area are we going to be able to stay the same. And so know that, okay, if this is a commitment, like, you know, I encourage you even keep a journal where you write those things down and you can look back at, okay, this is what I'm committed to do. Am I following through with it? Do I need to adjust my commitments? Maybe you made a commitment and you realized, you know what? This is not the season that I'm following through. So rather than beat myself up for it, I might remove that commitment and replace one with something that you're willing to start to actually take action on.
I think also just thinking about, you know, what you talked about is the perfection part of it, because this can be something that we end up not even consciously knowing or thinking about, but you start to think that, you know what, I have to do it a certain way, and if I don't do it this way, then, you know what, it's a failure. That's not true. What I always say with anybody that I work with is we're just trying to find the little wins, the small, tiniest wins that you can find. And listen, that's about probably the best way to do it. Start with small commitments, right? Start with small commitments, and then as you go, as you continue to find progress in whatever we're trying to work towards, then guess what? Make them bigger. They get bigger and bigger and bigger, because as you go, you know, you start to win those small ones. Then you start to realize that the small ones are the things that becomes habits of life that you can achieve. And then you got to continue to challenge yourself, because right? We don't want to be in stagnation. We want to continue to improve ourselves. We want to continue to progress in our growth. So as you continue to grow, those challenges that right now might seem small, might seem huge, might become smaller as you continue to grow and you continue to become curious with your mind. And just start with something small. Commit to something small, and then if you find the wins in those things, and those things become the habit of life. Of it's just what I do, right? And it's not something that is challenging anymore. Then move up, challenge yourself a little bit. If that becomes you achieve that, move up, challenge yourself again. And that's the progress of life, right? And you're just trying to find progress in life. So just start small. Pick one thing, start small, and just go from there. Don't try to gain the whole piece of pie right away. Just go small, piece by piece, and you'll be good.
Yeah, I want to give a practical example. So, gosh, it was probably a year and a half ago now at this point. So I used to be really, really diligent at getting up. I used to work in a gym, and I would have to be there at 4:20 in the morning, and I would get up at 3:20 just consistently, like every day, and I would go spend time just in prayer, journaling, reading the word. Just I had that time. It was locked down. It was a non-negotiable for me. So that was a habit, and it was there. Then I had a season where we had like a baby every year and just a lot of whatever, and I lost that habit. So it was no longer consistent for me. I actually went backwards. I could feel that going backwards. And then I decided, okay, I want to get back into that being a commitment of mine. So it was like really important to me. I want to do that. So I made that commitment, and guess what? For the first probably 4 months of that commitment was a struggle. Like it was like resistance at a very high, because every time my alarm would go off, I just want to sleep in. I just want to sleep in. And like some mornings I'd do it, and some mornings I didn't, and some mornings I did, and some mornings I didn't. And so I want to share that because it's not always going to be where it's easy and that you want to. Like that resistance is going to be there. Now for the past probably year, I don't know, it's been a commitment, and I've done it, and it's second nature for me, and I get up and I spend time, and like it's way more often than not that I'm going to follow through with that. That's just what I am. That's what I do. And that's just important to me. So I make it happen. Now it's second nature. For a season, it was not. For a season, it was not. It was a struggle, and then I got it. So I just want you to understand the process of it's not always going to be like this smooth sailing. I wrote this commitment, now my whole world just changed and it's easy. Like sometimes there's going to be that fight to, that willingness is high. So I'm going to say yes even when I want to say no. And I'm going to keep training until it becomes a consistent habit and second nature for me.
Yeah, and you know what? And even in that season, that is still tough for you to do it. There's still a win there, because you are still in the habit of wanting to do that.
The desire,
right? Now it's just the willingness to get up and do it that becomes challenging. So if you still have the desire to do it, that means it's still in you. That means you have not failed.
Yep.
That means you still have it in you. You just got to take the next step to do it. And that's all it takes, really. Like they said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with just the first step. All it takes is you taking that first step and saying, okay, this is time today. This is the day that I want to get up and go do it, and just go do it. Don't tell yourself that you're going to try to do it. Just go do it. And then on the other spectrum of it is just be honest with yourself. Like if maybe you've been doing it at a certain time, life happens, and maybe it's time for you to make a different time slot that works best for you. Okay, shift your time slot, get your sleep in, and then when that time comes, you are doing it. You're not saying that you're going to try to do it. You're not going to keep saying, I'll do it later. No, when that time block comes into place, you block that time and you go and you take care of what you need to take care of in that moment that you need to do. So, at the end of the day, like we always say, it's a habit that you're trying to create. It's a lifestyle that you're trying to create. Make it something that is natural, because that's how, really, to be honest, that's how we're created to be. We need that time for ourselves, to rejuvenate ourselves. We need that time to plan what the next step is for us. We need that time to reevaluate ourselves and to reflect on how is life going, in what areas am I doing good, in what areas do I need to get better, in what areas am I excelling at, and celebrate those times because you need to celebrate those times, right? Because you don't want to just keep hitting yourself in the head. Come on, people. Don't keep hitting yourself in the head. Be able to give yourself the freedom to say, you know what? I'm doing great financially right now, right? And not because I'm doing great, but you know what? I might go get a haircut. Or I might go get my nails done. Something like that. Something nice and small. You're not spurging yourself with anything, but you have done a great job, and you gotta appreciate those small little wins that you have, and you gotta celebrate those areas that you're excelling at, and don't just focus on the things that you're not doing so well at. Those things you're gonna keep working on those things. We all are gonna keep working on those things to continue to improve ourselves.
And I think that's good to, remind, all of us to celebrate those wins. So as you keep like a commitment journal or you list that out, like right beside it, okay, like I committed to getting up every morning and spending that first hour in prayer and journaling and reading my Bible. Okay, I wrote that commitment, and I could write down beside that now, you know what? I'm winning in it. Like I am doing this, or I'm going to drink half of my body weight in ounces of water each day. After a month or 2 or 3 of doing it, like look back, you know what? I committed to this. I'm still doing it. Like celebrating those wins that you're willing to do. And as you write those commitments, you do want it to be clear, the exact like time frame, things like that with it. So I'm going to get up and spend 1 hour of time just in prayer journaling every day. So every day is part of my personal commitment. Or I'm going to start to do 30 minutes of exercise 2 times per week, or whatever it is. Make sure that there's like a timeline to it versus I'm committed to starting exercise. Okay, what does that mean? When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? What are you going to do? Like there needs to be a little bit more detail, so that way yes, I followed through on my commitment, or no, I did not. So if I say I'm going to exercise 30 minutes twice a week, then at the end of the week, I'll look back. Did I exercise for 30 minutes twice this week? It's either yes or no. If mine is get up and spend that hour of time in prayer and journaling, I can look at the end of the week and say, I did it 5 days out of 7, or I did it 7 days out of 7. You want to have clarity of, I did it, yes, or no, I did not. So that way okay, am I training here? Is this a priority? Am I willing to do it? And if it's not, then we might need to revise our commitments just to help make sure that we know we have the right commitments for us in the right season. Because just because it may be a delayed commitment doesn't mean it's not important. It just might not be the most important thing for you to focus on right now.
Boom. Well, that's it.
That's it.
We are gonna wrap it up. Like we share, we'll always share, like, subscribe. We're trying to touch as many hearts as we can. Trying to give people peace and hope. Knowing that you're created for more than what society or the world says, or to be honest with you, sometimes what our mind says. You have a great purpose. You have a great purpose, and you're created it to use that gift that you're blessed with to bless other people, and to feel fulfilled in your heart and also in God's eyes, and to glorify God. So continue to hone into that, and continue to work into that, and continue to grow into that, knowing that you have a Father that loves you and cares about you. So
yeah, absolutely. And just hold on to that. Like, you have a good Father that is here to empower you and to strengthen you to fulfill that purpose. And so the whole point of this is training up, stewarding what we have been given so that we can fulfill that God-given purpose. And it won't happen by chance where we just like go through the motions. It's bringing some intentionality into it. So this week, really take some time and reflect on, what's one commitment I want to make for myself this week? Like, what's one thing that I want to commit to this week? and just start there and then let it build upon it. So Purpose Living Coaching on Facebook, we have a group in there that you're welcome to join. We have our membership, and we will, continue to train and do life God's way together.
And yep, finally got us back on the iTunes. Did that last week. Took me like 2 hours, but you can find us on all, I can truly say all podcast platform now. And just take a listen. So we are Purpose Living, training to do life God's way. Catch you guys next week.
Bye.